Hi everyone, I'm Sharon and this is Fiona. Today we're going to compare the quality of life in urban and rural areas of a country to find out about some of the differences between the two. I'll talk firstly about the different types of choices people have in urban and rural areas, and Fiona will tell you about health and employment. At the end, there'll be time for questions. There are a number of factors that contribute to the overall quality of life in urban centres, but if there is any general statement to be made about urban living, it is that there is a great deal of diversity and choice. In urban areas, there are many choices people have in respect to food, cultural events, and education. For instance, in urban areas, one is likely to be able to find a large range of food, and this leads to a wide diversity in diet. Large supermarkets and food halls in cities mean that people can choose from many types of food from many different cultures. Cities contain restaurants offering a choice of cuisine from all over the world. In addition, those in urban areas enjoy the opportunity to take in any number of cultural or social events as they have a large list to choose from. As a result, they have the opportunity to encounter people from other class, cultural, and ethnic groups. Also, parents have a number of choices available for the education of their children and can often select from a long list of both public and private school districts, which leads to the potential of high levels of education. In rural areas, on the other hand, there is less choice in these areas. In terms of food, there are fewer restaurants and supermarkets. As a result, many people grow their own food. While there may not be a large number of stores and restaurants to choose from, those in rural areas have the benefit of land upon which to grow their own food. Social contact is also different in rural areas. For example, there are far fewer people in rural areas for people to make contact with. However, communities are often stronger in rural areas than in urban ones. Although urban populations have large numbers of social networks and networking opportunities, rural communities tend to offer residents longer-lasting and more personal relationships since they encounter the same people more frequently. Finally, while there are not as many schools to choose from, and while rural schools are not funded as well as some others in city districts, children in rural schools can grow up knowing their classmates better and experience the benefits of smaller classrooms. Okay, I'm going to hand over now to Fiona, who will look at some more differences in health and employment between the two areas.
Thank you, Sharon. I'm going to compare how health and employment differ in urban and rural areas. Firstly, people living in urban centres have access to a range of healthcare professionals, to major hospitals and health clinics. If they suffer from diseases, they have a number of specialists to choose from in their area. This is different in rural areas, where people can sometimes live many kilometres from a doctor and further still from any major medical centre or hospital. Nevertheless, people living in overcrowded cities are likely to suffer more health effects as a result of stress from living in overcrowded cities. The daily stresses of urban life, such as being stuck in traffic, absence of green spaces in which to relax, dealing with high rates of crime, and in many cases, paying high housing costs, can cause depression and other mental illnesses. It is different for rural residents. Living in a rural area allows residents to enjoy and relax in the natural world instead of having to find parks. In addition, people do not have to fight with traffic or with overcrowding every day. Although they may need to commute to cities for work, at weekends they can take advantage of fresh air and the countryside to relax and wind down. Urban areas offer residents the possibility to choose from a range of employment options at any number of companies or organisations. This means they can also achieve high salaries and are often offered company benefits, such as overseas travel and motor vehicle allowances. In a rural area, however, unlike urban areas, residents do not have the best opportunity to choose from a range of employment options. While they can commute to larger towns, This gets expensive and is not as convenient as working close to their residence. For many rural people, though, they would rather sacrifice the chance of higher salaries for the benefit of living with more space and in a healthier environment. So, in conclusion, we've seen that there are differences in the quality of life between urban and rural living in terms of choice, with there generally being more choice for urban rather than rural dwellers. We've also compared how healthcare and well-being differs in urban as compared to rural areas, with healthcare being more available in urban areas. Finally, we have seen that there are more employment opportunities in urban areas, although many would give up the chance of more money for the advantage of living in a country environment. It is clear that there will always be people who prefer one or the other, and that the differences will always be there as long as the two environments exist. Thank you all for listening.